Which should you buy? The 5C, 5S, 6, and 6 Plus, and is it worth the money? In this episode of Phone Wars, let's review and compare Apple's iPhone product line. Specifically, let's justify why it might be worth it to spend an extra $100 to get way better performance, a better camera and Touch ID, an extra $200 to get faster wireless, a faster camera, Apple Pay, and a larger screen, or an extra $300 to get better battery life, better low-light picture performance, and an even bigger screen. If you want the thinnest iPhone that Apple makes, the iPhone 6 is your best bet. The iPhone product line goes from almost 9mm to 7.6 to 6.9 before inching back up to 7.1 with the iPhone 6 Plus. In terms of industrial design, the 5S, 6, and 6 Plus all used anodized aluminum, available in the same three colors. But the 6 and 6 Plus have been optimized for larger screens, with a covered glass design and elongated volume control buttons, and a different location for the sleep-wake button. Also, the UI in the 6 and 6 Plus has been redesigned with features such as reachability that allow you to double tap the home screen to bring down the screen, allowing you easy access to the buttons on the top of the app. In terms of wireless performance, the 5C and 5 Plus are equivalent. They have the same LTE radios, both supporting 802.11 and Wi-Fi. But if you have an updated 802.11 AC router, you'll definitely benefit from the more powerful radios in the 6 and 6 Plus. Also, the 6 and 6 Plus are approaching what could be considered a truly global LTE smartphone with up to 20 LTE bands supported in every device. Not only that, but both these phones also support carrier aggregation, otherwise marketed as LTE Advanced. While saving the details for a future Network Wars episode, basically carrier aggregation brings together non-contiguous, disparate bands of spectrum, allowing you to minimize interference when you're making calls or using data, and increase performance. And also, both these phones support voice over LTE, giving you higher definition audio calls for users right now on T-Mobile and coming soon to Verizon. And also, using the 6 and 6 Plus on T-Mobile gives you the benefit of Wi-Fi calling, which allows your phone to automatically switch between Wi-Fi and cellular depending on how strong the signal is wherever you're at. And one of my favorite ways to compare smartphones is performance, or more specifically, how powerful the chipset is. The iPhone 5S is definitely worth the extra $100 in this respect, giving you 200% more GPU and CPU performance. It also has the M7 coprocessor, which reduces power consumption when you're doing passive tasks that rely on the accelerometer, gyroscope, and compass. The 6 and 6 Plus both have the A8, which boosts CPU performance by 25%, but really boosts GPU performance by about 50%. And the M8 coprocessor also measures distance, distinguishing between walking, running, or cycling. Apple also introduced a barometer allowing the 6 and 6 Plus to measure elevation changes. And also, the A8 has dedicated die space for an image signal processor, which improves face, smile, and blink detection for better camera performance. And also, while the 5C and 5S have similar battery life, the 6 boosts this metric by 20%, while the 6 Plus gives you 50% more battery life throughout the day. While all the iPhones have 8-megapixel sensors and support time-lapse video, it's the 5S, 6, and 6 Plus that have larger pixels, capturing more photons, resulting in less noisy pictures, larger apertures that result in better low-light performance and giving you shallow depth of field effects, and also features like digital image stabilization, burst mode, and true tone flash with 2 LED flashes to give you better performance in low-light conditions. And in terms of video, while the 5C and 5S support 1080p at 30 frames a second, the 6 and 6 Plus bump that up to 60 frames per second, and while the 5S supports slow-mo video at 120 frames per second, the 6 and 6 Plus boost that to 240 frames per second. And the newly redesigned sensor in the 6 and 6 Plus give you things like phase detection that speeds up autofocus by a factor of 2. You also get things like 43-megapixel panorama, which almost doubles what you could get in the 5C and 5S. And also the bigger screen should be mentioned because you get more real estate to work with in editing your pictures and applying filters and actually sharing them with friends and family. There's also differences on the front FaceTime camera, where you get a larger aperture for better low-light performance in the 6 and 6 Plus, as well as things like HDR video and burst mode. And finally, Touch ID has a lot of different benefits depending on the phone you buy. In the 5S, it only allows for certain things like unlocking the phone, buying things from iTunes, and certain other functions within third-party apps. But on the 6 and 6 Plus, you get the benefit of adding in Apple Pay. Because of the NFC chip in these phones, there's no need to turn on the display or open up an app to pay. A simple vibration and beep will confirm payment. And in-app purchases will have a button that looks something like this, where you simply tap the button, confirm your fingerprint, and you're good to go. While I really want to go over more detail into what I think about Apple Pay in a future video, let me just say that this is probably one of the most exciting features in the 6 and 6 Plus, at least for me. And last but definitely not least for most people is the screen size. While this is probably the most obvious feature that will push people from one phone to the next, I think there's a couple of specific things to highlight regarding the differences in these displays. The 6 and 6 Plus almost double the contrast ratio of the 5C and 5S. By expanding the difference between the brightest and darkest pixels, you'll definitely get better picture performance and color reproduction. Also, Apple is marketing these curved glass displays as Retina HD because of their improved contrast, better viewing angles, and better performance using polarized sunglasses during the day. And if you upgrade to the 6 Plus, you'll get better UI performance with features like Zoom View that allow you to use your phone without your glasses, perhaps, and also an improved landscape view that allows you to see more content in things like Springboard, Mail, Stocks, Calendar, and Messages. So to recap everything in this video, while the 5C is a good purchase for people on a budget, it might be worth it to save a bit more money to upgrade to the 5S. Not only do you get double the storage capacity, but you also get an aluminum design that's thinner and more compact, a 64-bit processor with double the performance, better pictures, flash stabilization, and burst mode, and Touch ID features that you can use to unlock your phone, buy things on iTunes, and use in other third-party apps. But I think the iPhone 6 will be the sweet spot for many people because of the thinner, redesigned phone with different button locations, faster LTE, faster Wi-Fi, and better voice reception on certain carriers, slightly better performance with more sensors and better battery life, quicker camera performance, higher video frame rates, and continuous focus, and especially the larger, more vibrant screen that really makes the device more functional and useful in other scenarios. And let's not overlook Apple Pay. But if you want a bigger battery and optical image stabilization for low light performance and moving video, as well as a bigger screen, the iPhone 6 Plus is definitely your go-to device. For people who want to create content on their iPhone, whether it's through video or pictures or being productive, you're probably going to want to upgrade to the 64GB versions at least. So the 16GB versions are really not going to cut it for a lot of those situations. So this is just a brief overview for those of you who are shopping for the iPhone over the next couple of weeks. I'm really interested to see the sales difference between the 6 and 6 Plus because it'll be an indication of demand for different screen sizes. So thank you guys for watching this episode of Phone Wars. I'm glad to get it back in rotation now. And don't worry, I want to add Android phones that have been coming out lately, especially updates to the Samsung Galaxy line with Alpha, the Note 4, and the Edge. And I also want to cover what's been going on in the phone industry in general with regard to vendors and also carriers, and the difference between the different installment plans, 2-year contracts with AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint. And most of all, thank you guys for watching these episodes as we continue to look at technology, the people behind it, and how it may change our lives in the future.